Okay, so I absolutely hate positivity, specifically toxic positivity, because it's so bad and it's so fake. It's just so fake. It's like those people who absolutely hate you, but they aren't like going to say it to your face, so they just pretend that they like you, and that is just like one of the fakest bitch things to do. Like, it's the most beta thing when you just try to hide how you truly feel. Because toxic positivity is basically, oh, you didn't have a nice day? Yes, you did. There isn't such a thing as negativity. And then it's just a bunch of gaslighting. It's gaslighting. They are trying to tell you that the thing that you're seeing with your own eyes isn't the truth, and that only positivity is the truth. And it's just so terrible, because life just isn't perfect, and that's fine. And when we try to say, like, oh, life is good, good vibes, I'm so grateful for everything, we just become these like zombies that have no thoughts, and we just think about good feelings all the time. And when we focus so much on good feelings, we just don't progress, because some of the biggest creations in human history uh, was because of disappointment. I am truly one of those people who believe that, the hero arc can't be, completed if you haven't gone through the villain arc. you know, if you were just born a hero and you were always loved and all of that stuff, that doesn't really make you a lovable hero. It just makes you shallow in a way. So yeah, I truly think that suffering is something that there are some lessons that only suffering can teach. Like, it's not a joke. There are some things that you just can't explain if you haven't gone through that pain and that suffering, you know? And I think that a lot of this positivity stuff, it has become truth because of social media. Because right now everyone seems to be having a perfect life, and a perfect family, and a perfect boyfriend, and a perfect body, and a perfect job, and a perfect life. And just because, we see that on like social media, we think that's a reality. Because our brain, it doesn't know that it's fake. Our brain just believes what it sees. It's like, oh, I see this perfect image, so it must be truth. And so I think because of social media, we just haven't seen sad people in a long time. Because since everybody seems to be so perfect, when we see somebody who is not perfect, we just say, oh, you are wrong, you are defective, you know? And so, like, it all comes down to this perfection. And it just, something that has always bothered me, like, a lot, is when people say, oh, I hate sad songs because they make me sad. And to just say that sad songs aren't good and that sad songs are just terrible, when literally they teach so much and they just make me feel on such an intense level. You know, for example, my boyfriend, he really doesn't like Lana Del Rey, but I really like her because even though she doesn't have, these happy, super happy songs, I feel happy when I listen to her songs, because it's so profound and it just has such a big impact on your feelings, and you begin to think about your life, that is just so beautiful. And it's not beautiful in a Instagram perfect way, it's beautiful in a sad way. it's beautiful in the sense that you see how fucked up life is, that you begin to just smile because it all feels so strange, you know. A lot of Lana Del Rey songs are about, for example, domestic violence, and that's not a happy song. Her ultra violence song is about, a girl being beat up by her husband or boyfriend or something, but and everybody just says, oh, it's such a bad song because it doesn't have good vibes, and it is teaching young women to be submissive. But in my opinion, it's totally the opposite, because in her song she says, he beat me but it felt like true love. Loving him was never enough. We could go back to New York where people don't know us, and just everything about this song is just like, she deep down, she knows that is a bad relationship and that is not love and that is abuse, but still she just wants him, and she still wants to feel loved. She wants this to work, and she doesn't know how to escape. And she has so many of these nostalgic memories. Like when Lana sings, like, I don't know, in the song she talks a lot about her memories and just, a lot of stuff, and how much she loves this like abusive guy. And that is just so beautiful, not because it's happy, but because it is sad, because that is the point. You need to have different emotions to have some kind of depth. When you don't have lots of sources of emotion, you just become stupid. Like, I truly believe that one of the leading causes of stupidity is people who don't accept different things from what they think is acceptable. You know, the easiest way to become dumb is to think that everything that you don't like is bad. That is the easiest way to become ignorant, and everything that is just stupid. You become a stupid person. And just like, I love sadness, and I love anger, and I love, angst. I love that because you don't have to be happy all the time. And then just, I believe that the happiest moments in my life was when I began to understand my sadness and just dealt with it. Because happiness doesn't come from like, oh, I'm so happy. True happiness comes from, well, this situation sucks, but still I am going to, live my life and be myself. And you know what? That isn't even happiness. That is called resilience. And in my opinion, the truest form of happiness is resilience. Because if you're happy but you're not resilient, anything can make you sad. Because if you just live for happiness, like trying to search that dragon, because lots of drug addicts, they call the drug like, the high, they say it is the dragon, so they keep trying to get that dragon feeling again. So when you're just happy but you aren't strong, anything can bring you down. If you are just happy but you don't have that maturity, your happiness doesn't truly mean anything. It's like the kind of happiness where a child is eating ice cream. Ice cream makes them feel good, and so they smile. But when the ice cream, they end the ice cream, they are not happy anymore because it's vapid, it's shallow. But what's truly like happiness? It's like a guy who just came back from war and he saw a lot of fucked up stuff, but finally he is alive and at home and he can rest. Like, that is a lot more profound, in my opinion, at least. I don't know. It just feels like the mix, the mix of happiness and sadness is like sour candy. It's candy because it's sweet, but it's sour, so it is a different type of sweet. So when you mix those two things, it's like nothing else. You know, I think also one of the happiest moments in my life was when I let the people that I love go, when I let them go. Because at that moment, I was happy because they were finally being free to be themselves and to be happy. But at the same time, I was sad because I was letting them go. And so that mix of sadness and happiness was like, it was some gourmet type of shit. It just felt like nothing else, you know? And so, no, I am not going to try to be positive, to fit in, and to say, oh, my life is good all the time and I'm perfect and all of that stuff. No, I am not fucking perfect. I'm a terrible person. Like, people say, oh, you're so good, but no, I am not a good person because you know what? Nobody is a good person. We all have flaws. We all have like mistakes that we do almost weekly, every day, you know? And so, and I'm proud because you know what makes me human? The fact that I'm fucked up. Because bad choices make good stories, and when a person is just so perfect and they are just happy all the time, they don't feel like a person, they feel like a doll, they feel like a character. They're not just living, they are just in this fantasy world. And then you look at them and you're like, how can I, how can I see myself in you? Because you know what? When I see the people that I love, like my boyfriend, my family, my friends, I don't relate to them for their perfection. Like, I relate to them when they are at their worst. When they are at their worst, that is when I'm like, oh, I can totally see how that reflects on myself. When they are sad, when they are going through a hard time, when somebody that they love goes away, that is when I'm like, I feel your pain. I know who you are now. Because you can never judge people by how good they are feeling, but rather by how bad the situation can go. Because, for example, it's easy to have a friendship when everything is good, but like, what about when you're homeless and you have no money and you aren't pretty anymore and you get old and nobody wants to be by your side? That is exactly when you find your true friends. Because it's fucking easy for everybody to just get rich, go to a lot of parties, find a lot of quote unquote friends, and then think like, oh, these are my true friends. But like, not really, And so, yeah. And something that I have seen about perfection and this whole, toxic positivity, it's a sociopathic and narcissistic type of shit. Because who is the type of person who wants to be perfect all the time and who wants to be positive all the time? Psychos, absolute crazy people, because they don't work in our reality. They are not trying to be human. They are trying to be above humans. Because, for example, there was this guy that I met that I'm almost 100% sure he has like some type of sociopathy, psychopathy. I don't know. He's just crazy. He's crazy and narcissistic, like on a clinical level. You know what I'm saying? And he never tries to talk about how hard his life is. He's always trying to say, oh, look at me, I'm so good, I'm so perfect, my life is perfect, and you're jealous of me. That is some psycho type of shit, because people who are just like positive vibes. Oh, I'm so positive. Think good thoughts. Think good for yourself. Think about yourself in a good way. Are people who think way too much about themselves. You know, I don't think about myself that much to be like policing myself, like, oh, I need to think I'm better than everyone, like, oh, my life needs to be good vibes. I don't think that because I don't think about my self image all the time. It's like those people who say, oh, everyone is beautiful and I'm beautiful. And then they just wake up, they look in the mirror and they're like, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, because they need that like compliment to feel like they are enough. You know? People who are just good vibes all the time, I don't trust those motherfuckers because there's always something that you're not proud about. And when you try to hide that, you know, just hide your shadow in the shadows and like never let anyone see your flaws, that is concerning. That is not normal. You know, normal people, they can relate and solve problems, but when you're just trying to behave like somebody else and make a character out of yourself, you are being so fake. You know, those people who just try to be good vibes all the time and be positive, just be positive, just be happy. They are characters, they're not people. Because they are trying to create this persona of being like just so happy. And that is creepy. That is creepy because they don't see themselves as organic beings who just live and do things. They see themselves as the main character. They see themselves as like, oh, I'm so important and I just need to think positive because if I feel any sadness and if I feel any type of anger, I'm a bad person. That is concerning. Don't be like that. Yeah, that's my rant for today. Goodbye.